Welcome to another Meetup Live event. My name is Emily. I'm the Marketing Events Coordinator at Meetup. Today, we are joined by special guest Paul Welden, organizer of travel hacking and ways to travel for free or very cheaply. He will teach us tips on how to travel smarter in 2023, and you will leave knowing how to find the best rates on rental cars, score deals on lodging, and learn to redeem and earn travel miles efficiently. So before we get into his presentation, I am just going to share my screen and share the guidelines and the agenda. So for today's guidelines, this event is recorded, but don't worry, you will not appear in the video. You can only see us, we can't see you. There is also a mute courtesy. Your audio will be muted for the event, but if you have any questions, we want to hear from you, so submit them in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen, and we'll answer them at the end of the event. Closed captioning is also available. To turn it on, just click on the live transcription icon at the bottom of your screen and select your preference. And for today's agenda, we're just doing a quick introduction right now, followed by Paul's presentation, which will take about 40 minutes, and then a Q&A session at the end for 15 minutes. So before I let Paul hop on into it, I'm just going to give him a quick introduction. So Paul is an entrepreneur working as an exclusive buyer's realtor in the Phoenix area for 17 years. He also founded a certification program that partners with federal government programs. In his spare time, Paul manages his rental properties, does a bit of retail arbitrage, and travels internationally 3 to 4 times annually with his sweetheart of 19 years. He has amassed over 1 million travel points for free from average everyday normal spending and continues to accrue an additional 100,000 free travel mile points each year. Because so many people kept asking him about how he travels for free, he started the Travel Hackers Meetup group, and this is finally an outlet he can use to share all of his crazy travel information. So I'm so excited to have you, Paul, and to let you take this away. I have already learned so much from Paul, so I'm excited that he is here to share some of his tips with you all.
Thanks, Emily. I really appreciate it. I am super excited to share with you all some basic travel hacks that I used when I first started traveling for free. Now, a lot of this stuff is just going to be basic entry-level things that anyone can do no matter where they live. Some of the more advanced things that I do tend to get a little bit crazy. Sometimes they're only limited to US residents, but I'll get into some of the basic ones that anyone can start using immediately today to start traveling for free like I do. So some of the basic travel hacks are basically earning airline miles and hotel points and other travel points like flexible currencies like American Express points or Chase points or Citi points or Capital One points, those types of things. And then you redeem them for free flights, free hotels, free rental cars, free activities, whatever you want to do. Now, I earn a lot of miles and points just from everyday normal spending, but I do it in very creative, strategic ways that can multiply the amount of points that I earn. Most times people are earning like 1 point or 1 mile for every dollar they spend, or 2 points for every dollar they spend. I usually try to earn anywhere from 5 to 10 points for every dollar I spend, just a normal everyday thing, so I can accrue a lot of points so I can travel for free. Travel hacking is easy and it's free. Now, there's some things you can pay for to do, but I don't do a lot of those paid things. Most of the things that I do are free. Now, on my level, which is kind of an experience level, can be quite daunting for some people. So I suggest that if you want to get into this hobby, get into this fun little thing that I do, take it easy. Take baby steps, take it slow, and see what works for you, and then you advance at your own pace. Now, one of the fastest ways to get to travel for free is through new credit cards. I'm not going to be talking about that much today, but I have over 20 credit cards. No, my credit score hasn't dropped at all. I mean, it's still in the high 800s, but I'm not going to talk a lot about the credit card strategies today. I save that for my intermediate or advanced level classes, because that's just a whole nother level of crazy that you get into when you have like over 20 credit cards. So I've learned the travel hacks I'm going to teach you today from my over 10 years of international traveling, where the most that I think I've ever paid for an international trip is $500 from the US to Australia round trip. And then the best ones that I did was $289 a round trip from LA to Paris in January of 2020. Now, the best miles and points redemption I did was for a $3,500 flight that I only had to pay 60,000 points, but it only cost me $70 out of my own pocket. That was to go from Phoenix to Stockholm, Stockholm to Bergen, Norway, Bergen, Norway back to Phoenix. All that round trip was priced at $3,500. I did it for $70 out of my pocket, plus using 60,000 miles that I accrued just for doing some everyday normal spending. I'm going to share with you, and I'm really excited about this. It's been a while that I've shared some real life, real world, real time examples of what I'm going to teach you. So you're going to follow along with my screen, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do and how I do it. Make sure you write down your questions because we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. So let's get into the first travel hack about how you can travel for free like me, or hopefully as cheaply as possible. All right, let's get into airfare. Airfare, believe it or not, a lot of people think that's the most expensive part of your travel, but it depends on how long you travel for. If you're traveling for 2 or 3 weeks, usually lodging ends up being your most expensive travel part of your travel. But we're going to talk a little bit about airfare. The best way to find cheap flights is to be flexible. You've got to be flexible with your dates and your destination. If you're very specific on your dates and when you can go and where you want to go, you're going to be spending a lot more money for it than people like me do. So I recommend to score as great of a deal as possible. You've got to be flexible with your departure cities, with your departure dates, your arrival dates, where you want to go. Don't travel over major holidays. International holidays include things such as Christmas and New Year's Eve. They're generally going to be very expensive. Try to go off season and shoulder season traveling. Consider adjusting your departure days and your arrival days with 1 to 3 days of flexibility. I'm doing this right now on a return trip to Switzerland. And if I leave from Phoenix to go to Switzerland on May 25th, the miles are going to be 70,000 miles. But if I leave on May 24th, it's only 30,000 miles. So if you can be a little bit flexible with your dates, you can score some really good deals. Also, the deals that I find, they don't last really long and they're in limited quantity. So if you find a good deal and some of the methods that I teach you today, and you come across one, book it. The US airlines, and I think maybe a lot of the international airlines, may have a 24-hour cancellation policy. So once you book the flight, you have a limited amount of time that you can research lodging, activities, what the weather's going to be like. Is it a place you really want to go to? And then if it works out, keep the flight. If it doesn't work out, you can cancel it. And most of the time, you haven't really lost anything at all. I do something in travel hacking called chasing the deal, which is a lot easier to find cheap places to go to and a lot of really cool unexplored places that I never thought that I'd ever go to before. A lot of people have very specific destinations though. So they're chasing a destination or chasing dates. But my strategy, once again, you find a deal and then you find a reason to go there. As an example, let's say I wanted to go to Germany from, the US to Germany. It may be really expensive for whatever reason. It could be $1,200. It could be $1,500. It could be 120,000 miles or points. But let's say that you just go to a neighboring country like Austria or Switzerland or something nearby, and you can take a train or a really inexpensive flight to get to your desired country. Look at those options as well. Try to be flexible where you can go. And here's another really cool tip. If you're searching for multiple tickets, meaning there's multiple people going with you and a travel partner plus maybe a couple kids, try searching for one person at a time. Let me see if I can share my screen and get into an example. All right, let's do this. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so let me see if I can get in to what I'm going to be talking about. Can you guys see my screen? Emily, can you see my screen okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm just going to go to just a random airline website, Southwest. It's a really it's a low-cost carrier in the States for people that are not familiar with that. So let's just book a flight. Let's just go from Phoenix to, I don't know, let's do Oakland, just for some random dates. So I'm going to choose a random date, the 14th to the 17th, and I'm just going to click search. And you may see if these dates or these city pairs don't work. Give me just 1 second while it's populating the dates. Okay, let's see if I can scroll down. Okay, so this one right here, you depart at 9:10 and you land there at 12, but look, it says it only has 2 tickets left at that price. So if you're booking for more than 2 people, you're not going to get that price. So right now, if I was booking for 1 person, I can get it for $232. But if I go back up and change this, let's see if I can change this to maybe 3 passengers and see what the price comes up at. Instead of $232, come on, Southwest, what's it going to be? Same flight, it's not available. So it just gives you a really good example. If you are traveling with multiple people, try searching for 1 passenger at a time. This works for all airlines, by the way, not just Southwest and not just US-based carriers, but try searching for 1 person at a time, then 2 people at a time, and see where the cutoff is for the good price that you just found. It works almost all the time because airlines always have a limited amount of tickets they sell for a really good price, and then they bump it up. Obviously, depending on the closer to your departure date it gets more expensive, but really try that travel hack, searching for 1 person ticket at a time. Okay, so let's get into some really cool stuff. Google Flights. This can work anywhere in the United States. You can go to google.com/flights, and we're going to hack Google Flights. So before I get into it, let me set up some parameters. You can choose any departure city that you want, and you can choose any destination city that you want to go to. But Google is really cool because if you don't have a specific destination in mind, you can leave this blank and you can click search if you want to. And Google will say, hey, these dates you chose, Paul, from the 29th to the 2nd, this will give her the flights, not just in the US of where you can go, but you can look anywhere in the world. Let's say you want to go to, screen's going to refresh in a minute. Let's say you want to go to Africa or you want to go to Europe. It tells you anywhere in the entire world you want to go. You don't have to have a destination in mind. You can just choose by your dates. Like, hey, I'm on vacation, or I've got a sabbatical, or I've got time off on these dates. Let's see where in the world I can go to. And it's a really, really cool travel hack you can use. Another thing you can do, let me see if I can get back to the main page. This is really neat. You can choose, let's say, I'm just using Phoenix because that's where I live. So let's say I could leave from Phoenix. That's pretty easy, but you click on this plus sign. And now let's say I could leave from Tucson, Arizona. You put a check mark there. I could also leave from Las Vegas because Las Vegas is just a 45-minute flight away. I could also leave from Los Angeles if I want to. And I just want to click Europe if I want to and click search. It'll bring up the prices for all of my departure cities to anywhere in Europe. I mean, it's a really, really cool travel hack that you can use if you're not familiar with it, that lets you, like, if you find a really cheap price to go from LA to, I don't know, Reykjavik, that may be better than going from Phoenix to Reykjavik, and it could save you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Yes, you've got to get to your alternate departure city, which would be, LAX, but getting to LAX or Las Vegas or one of your alternate departure cities could be really inexpensive. So you want to compare and contrast what the price is for those alternate departure cities. Another thing you could do, let me get back to the main page. This is so cool. I love this. And if I'm talking really fast, Emily, just let me know and slow me down. So if you don't want to, if you have only 1 city you can depart from, you could also put in multiple cities you want to go to. Let's say you want to go to Berlin, but you could also go to, let me click on the plus sign. And let's say you could also go to Prague, or you know what? I could also do, Zurich for that matter. and you can choose multiple destination cities as well. And when you do that, it'll bring up like all the flight options that you have. You're leaving from Phoenix, but then you go to Zurich. That seems to be the cheapest one so far for these dates. But then there's Berlin, which is not much more than going to Zurich. So you can put in multiple departure cities, you can put in multiple destination cities, and you can do a combination of both. Like I could choose here. I could also do Las Vegas if I wanted to, or I can choose Denver. Now, if you choose too many of these city pairs, Google's going to freak out and say, "Oh no, I can't handle this computation. It's too many city pairs." So right now it looks like Phoenix to Zurich is the cheapest one for all these cities, and Denver to Zurich would be the next one for not much more. So there's a lot of cool travel things you can do with Google Flights. One of the downsides of Google Flights is that it does not show a lot of low-cost carriers. In the US, the low-cost carriers would be like Southwest or Breeze Airlines or Legion Airlines, or some things like this. It'll show some things like Spirit Airlines and Frontier Airlines, but it doesn't show all of the ultra low-cost carriers available. And if you don't want to try fly economy like I do, you can always choose premium, economy, business, and first, and it finds those fares for you as well. And you can even set up deal alerts. This thing right here in the middle, you can just check this right here, just click that toggle on, and it'll start tracking those flights for you if you have very specific dates or things you want to look for. And Google will notify you of when the price goes down, when it goes up, when it's expected to go up, when it's expected to go down. I think Kayak does the same thing too. Hopper is an app. I think it does something similar. Momondo. I mean, there's a couple other sites that do something similar, but I love hacking Google Flights. Another cool thing is this price graph. This is so much fun. So this shows you, so if I wanted to leave on my departure cities, my destination cities, and these specific dates, is right now at $1,106. But if I can leave a little bit later, I'm down to almost half the price. So you can play around with this and you can see like where are the cheapest dates, where are the most expensive dates, and you can even change the length of your trip. Let's say you want to do a 7-day trip and see what the price is like. It's not going to be that much more. So you can play around with the price graph, which is really neat on Google Flights, and you can even do the date graph if you want. And it shows you what the prices are for the date. So if I wanted to leave on January the 6th, which is my birthday, by the way, and I wanted to come back on the 13th, the price is going to be $676. But if I left on January the 8th and came back on January the 14th, I'm saving like $80 or $90 almost by just leaving a couple of days later and coming back a couple of days later. It's a really cool tool that you can use to find the cheapest flights. And this is just travel hacking kind of 101, like how you can use Google Flights to find some of the cheapest deals. If you don't have a lot of miles or a lot of points, or you're just getting started in travel hacking, this is some really cool tools to start hacking Google Flights. If like I mentioned that you could toggle this on and track your flights. Now, if you wanted to, there are services that they're all free that I'm going to show you. They have paid versions as well, but the free version, these services will track and notify you of great deals on flights, and all you have to do is give up your email. So let me go over some of these for you real quick. First one is Scott's, let me spell this right. Scott's Cheap Flights. Now, I'm not getting any promotion, or they're not paying me to do any of this, but it's a cool thing. You just go here and you sign up here, get free flight alerts. And you put in your email, and that's it. They will start notifying you of the cheap deals that they find. We're talking like really, really good deals. Like the one that I went to Paris, from LA to Paris, round trip, nonstop for $289. I found that on Scott's Cheap Flights. Now, Scott's Cheap Flights has a paid version. So if you wanted to sign up for the paid version, you get more flexibility and you get more customization you can do. You can certainly do it. I would recommend trying the free version and see how it works out. A competitor to Scott's Cheap Flights is pretty awesome. I mean, it's really cool. And a competitor to that one is Pomelo travel. Identical thing that they do. Put in your email address, they start sending you deals for free. Like, it's really, really cool. Now, they have a premium version. You can see here at the top of the screen, you can pay for something, which just means you get more flexibility. You can add specific cities you want them to search for and weed out everything else. So there's some benefits to go in the premium, but just start with the free one, see how it works up. I've got a lot of these services that are sending me deals all the time. And it really, really saves you a lot of time from having to do all this searching on your own. So we got Scott's Cheap Flights. We've got Pomelo Travel. Matt's Cheap Flights is another one. Oops, let me see here. Where's Matt? Here we are, Matt's Cheap Flights. It's another thing. See, they all look very similar. They all have the same sign-up page, but they're all operated by different companies. And sometimes they do find similar deals, but occasionally one of these will find a deal that the other ones haven't found. So it's a good idea to sign up for all of them. Another cool one is Airfare Spot. Let me see if I can spell this right. Yeah, Airfare Spot. It's a really cool one. You can sign up for this one free too, and you can look at what the flights are for the US, Canada, Europe. I mean, all kinds of places that you can look for. Let me close this. I don't want the ad. So direct flights to and from the Caribbean from London for 445 pounds if you want to, round trip. You can go from right here, London to Cancun for 392 pounds round trip. I mean, all kinds of cool stuff that you can fly. London to New York, or London to Miami, or London to LA, starting from 357 pounds round trip. I mean, there's just some really cool deals that you can find. Sign up for their service. You can go on here and you can submit your email address. And they'll start sending you deals as well. You can also follow them on social media. I'm sure they have an Instagram account and a Twitter account. And then you just start getting these deals easier than having to check your email all the time. Another one that I really like to do is Secret Flying. I think I have their website right. Oh, got it. Yeah, okay, there it is. It's another cool service that you can sign up for free. And you can put in your email address. You can even search on their website. If you wanted to search for some really good deals, you can certainly do that too. Like if somebody lived in Orlando, look at this, Orlando to Columbia, starting at $325 round trip. We're talking what is it? Like $180 or $160, something like this each way. Like, it's incredibly cheap if you start following some of these deal finders. It's a really, really cool service. And the last crazy airfare deal service I want to share with you is the Flight Deal. This is a really cool one. I get the email all the time. And they don't necessarily break it down by where you're necessarily departing from. But they just send you all the deals they find for that day in one email. And you can click on the links and it'll take you right to the deals that they're promoting here. Like if you want to go from San Francisco to Maui, we're talking as low as $197 round trip. It's less than $100 each way to go to Hawaii if you wanted to. I mean, just some really cool stuff that these people find. Like if I want to go to Seattle, look at this. Phoenix to Seattle right here for $138 round trip. Like it's like $70 each way. Like it's incredibly cheap on these deals that they find. So these are some of the services that I recommend you all sign up for. Give them your email address. I've never been spammed by any one of these organizations, so don't worry about that. At least in my experience, I've never been spammed by them. So they're really, really cool stuff that they will do for you. And one of the things that the way they earn their money is they have advertisements on their websites and they have advertisements in the email, so they get some ad revenue from that. And that's mostly where they get most of their revenue from, which is why they're happy to share all these deals for you. And once again, travel during shoulder season if you can. Like we went to Rome in November, and I think we went for maybe $425 round trip, I think, from Phoenix. I mean, it was crazy cheap, but it was shoulder season. Not many people were there. The weather was perfect. It was 65 to 70 degrees. There was no crowds. We got into anything we wanted to see with no waiting. It was just an unbelievable experience. We were there for 10 days. And then Paris in January. Yeah, maybe a little colder, than what it is in the summer, but it's less crowded, and you get into restaurants and activities or events or sites you want to get to with very little waiting and not a lot of crowds you have to deal with when you go in shoulder season. Okay, one other travel hack about airfare. This is questionable, but it's called hidden city ticketing. So let me get back to Google Flights. And let me see if I can do this on Google Flights. So I'm going to go from Phoenix, and I want to go to Dallas. Let's just choose Dallas, okay? So right now, if I choose Phoenix to Dallas, the flight on Frontier is $184 round trip. On American, it's $346 round trip. But check this out. If I wanted to go to Phoenix to Dallas, but I went to Omaha, look at this. It's cheaper to go to Phoenix, and look at this. This will connect in Dallas, $343. So hidden city ticketing means you go from Phoenix to Dallas, but it continues to Omaha, and it's $343. So if you wanted to, you could book this flight, get off at Dallas because that's your original destination, and don't continue to Omaha. Hidden city ticketing can save you some money. However, there are some big caveats. And before I get into these caveats and these dangers about hidden city ticketing, there is a website, Skiplagged. Skiplagged would do this for you without having to go through Google Flights. You can do the same search here, and it will find you all the hidden city ticketing that you can find to get a cheaper price. Now, the downside to hidden city ticketing is that the airlines hate it. In fact, it actually goes against the contract of carriage that you have with the airlines. And if you put in your frequent travel number with the airlines could kick you out of their frequent traveler program. Also, you cannot check a luggage because your luggage is going to go to your final destination, which in this scenario that I just showed you is Omaha. So if you really want to get off at Dallas and you check a bag, it's going to take you all the way to Omaha, so don't check a bag. There's also sometimes on a full flight where the gate agents may have you gate check your carry-on bag because the overhead bins are full. So you've got to be careful about that as well. So there are some dangers to doing this. So use it at your own risk. I've done it once or twice. I don't do it anymore, but that option is out there, and that can save you considerable amount of money on some of your flights using hidden city ticketing. Okay, so that's some airfare travel hacks. Let's get into some rental car travel hacks. Now, the best rental car travel hack that I've done is I've been able to bring down my rental car price for a 2-week trip to Switzerland from $1,500 down to $525 for 2 weeks. And this is not prepaid. This is I'm paying at the time that I pick up the rental car. So for some reason, if I don't go or if I need to cancel it, I'm not paying anything up front. These are all, completely refundable and cancelable anytime that I want. One of the coolest things you can do is when you're looking for rental cars, go to the airport website. If you're flying in or the train station, whatever it is, go to the specific station or the airport that you're flying into and look on their website of which rental car agencies actually are at the airport. Instead of like some of the rental car agencies may say, oh, we're at the airport, but what they really mean is their shuttles at the airport, but it's going to take you a 20-minute to 30-minute shuttle ride to go off airport to get to this one. Fox Rental Car is a big one that does that. Payless Rental Car is another one that does that. So be careful of where you're renting the car from and make sure that if it's at the location where you want to be, and you can do that on the airport website, sometimes even the train website. When you start searching, your initial search on the rental car, as soon as you find the best deal, you book it, you reserve it, and you don't do one that you pay now. Do a reservation where you pay later. So book the cheapest, the best deal that you can find at the moment when you start searching. And also, and I'll tell you why in a minute, you also want to reserve with multiple companies. So you book a reservation with Sixt, book one with Hertz, book one with Enterprise, You can do one with Auto Europe. You can do one with Europe Cars, do one with Budget or Avis. Do multiples if you want to. And the reason you do that is because in case your preferred rental agency runs out of the vehicle that you want, and they give you like a gas guzzling behemoth of a minivan or SUV, you don't want that. And if you don't have a backup that you can fall back on, you're going to get stuck with that gas guzzling big giant minivan if you don't want that. I always travel in like economy or compact automobiles. But sometimes if you're traveling with a large group of people, like 4 people, and you really need a larger vehicle, and all they have are the smaller ones, you're stuck if you only have the reservation with one company. So make sure you have reservation with multiple companies. Doesn't cost you anything. And if you're not going to use that reservation, you can always cancel it at any time. So once you get your initial reservations made for your rental cars, you want to check the pricing again and again and again. And your frequency depends on how often you want to do it. You can check for a new price every day, every week, every month, as often as you want. And most of the time you'll find a cheaper price and bring down the price even lower. As an example, I'm going back to Switzerland next month, and my rental car was originally $1,200. I've gotten it down to like $600. And just today I did another search. I got the price down from $600 down to $534 again, to $534. Just for searching for the same dates, the same destination, and the rental car agency just has a better price. So I booked that better price. Once I got that confirmed, canceled the original reservation. Now I'm just saving money time and time and time again. And that is how you can find some really, really good deals on rental cars. Most people just book the rental car and that's it, they're done. Same thing with hotels too, and same thing with airfare. Most people just book it just once and forget it. But if you continuously check for a better price and better deal, maybe better connections, better dates, you can usually find something better as time goes on. There is a service that I mentioned that would do this for you for free. This service is called AutoSlash. So I've used them many times. And up here at the top, you can do something called Track a Rental. So you can put in your rental reservation information for the car that you just reserved and go through all their steps and all their prompts. They'll ask you what credit cards you have, what frequent flyer memberships do you have, what credit cards you have, all these various things so that they can try to find a really good price for you. And then they will continuously search every single minute, every single day. And when they find a better deal for you, they will send you an email. You click the link, and if it meets your needs, you book it. Now, they get a referral fee for that every time that you click on their link and book one of their rental cars. But that's how they make their money. But it's a really cool service that you can use to find really good rental car prices after you've already made one. Now, if you want to, they can also give you a quote. You can search on here for rental car prices as well. And then if you want it to be really cool, once you get the reservation from them, go back up here and go to Track Rental and enter in all the information you just did by getting a rental quote from them, and they will start tracking that one to see if they find you a cheaper one. They also have a coupon section on their website that if you go through Avis, I mean, you get up to 30% off, and you get Southwest Rapid Reward points by using certain codes. So they give you certain codes you can use for different rental agencies to find some of the best prices. It's a really cool service, totally free. Recommend it, use it all the time. It's really, really awesome. Another one you could do is Costco Travel. They used to do international car rental reservations, but now I think it's just domestic US. I mean, I had a really great rental experience one time. I rented from them, and I had a convertible for the 4 weeks that I was hanging out in France for a while. It was really awesome. But I think right now they're only just doing US domestic rental reservations for cars. But it's a really cool site if you have a Costco membership to get in here and find a really good price on rental cars. One of the benefits that you get is that you get an extra driver for free. So if you need that feature, Costco Travel certainly does have that available. A lot of other rental car agencies, if you book it directly through them, will charge you for an extra driver, but Costco Travel certainly does not. Another one you could use is Turo. Turo is like the Airbnb of rental cars. You're basically just renting private individuals' automobiles almost anywhere you want to go. So I'm just going to put in Phoenix and see what happens here. Let's see what kind of deals I find for Phoenix. You get some really cool cars too. You can rent Teslas, you can rent Aston Martins, you can rent Bentleys. I mean, you can also rent like a 2012 Ford Focus if you want to. I mean, look at these really cool things. You can rent a Mercedes-Benz S-Class for $99 a day, or a Tesla for 186, or another Tesla for 90. So Turo is a really cool service that you can use for like renting private individuals' automobiles. And some of these automobiles you cannot get at traditional rental agencies. So it's a cool thing to check out. And sometimes when rental agencies are super expensive, like right now, I'm also trying to go back to Europe in May, and rental prices now are around $2,000 for the 2 weeks I want to be there. You know, I'm going to look at other options because it's just really, really expensive. So Turo would certainly be an option. I mean, look at this. For a couple of days, you're going to rent a Kia Soul for $44 a day. Most likely, that's going to be cheaper than most rental car agencies at the airport are going to charge you. So the downside is you may have to take an Uber or Lyft or mass transit to where the vehicle is so you can pick it up. But if saving money is really important to you, this is a really cool site you can use to find some good deals on rental cars. Now, before I get rid of the rental car travel hack stuff, I want to show you some ways that you can prevent getting hit or charged with damage to your automobile. Or it may be even going over the mileage that some of these rental agencies say you're restricted to a certain number of miles. Always take photos and videos when you pick up the vehicle, and have a copy of your rental reservation in your hand, so you have it on your video, and so you can see it in the video and the pictures that you're taking that it's actually for that vehicle, for that specific reservation. Take photos and videos when you pick it up. Do the same thing when you return it. Also, you take a picture of the dashboard with the miles and how full the fuel tank is. So that way you've got documentation that what it was like when you picked it up, what it was like when you dropped it off, and always save your gas receipt in case a rental agency comes after you and says, oh, you didn't fill up the tank, we're going to charge you, $10 a gallon or 20 euros a liter for filling up the tank. But if you save your gas receipt, and you've got a picture of what the fuel tank was when you dropped it off, it can save you from a lot of these unscrupulous rental car agencies that will go after you for doing this. I've had this happen to me a couple of times, but I've always been saved by taking photos and videos when I pick it up and drop it off. Okay, let's get into some lodging. So lodging, if you've ever gone to Priceline and look for lodging, on Priceline, you can look for hotels, you can look for flights, you can bundle and save, you can look for cars, but I'm going to get into looking for flights on hotels on Priceline. They have this really cool feature. And let me just do this real quick. Let's just go to Las Vegas. I'm choosing some random dates. Let me just choose the 19th through the 21st. I'm going to find my hotel. Now, what they are going to do is they are going to show me in a second here all the hotels that they can find. Now, these are all hotels you can find on your own, even if you didn't go to Priceline. Oops, let me block this. But what they have that's really cool is these things called express deals. Express deals will help you find better prices on hotels, but the downside is that you don't know what hotel you're staying at. They give you a general location area of where it's located. Look at this, a 4.5-star casino hotel on the Strip for $41 a night. They're saying that it's 48% off. The challenge is that you just don't know exactly what hotel it is. But watch this, see what happens. There is a browser extension. Let me see if it works. Should take about a minute for it to pop up. And if it does pop up, oh, please work. Okay. Still showing a 4.5-star casino hotel on the Strip, saying it's $41 a night. Should be up. There it is. It tells you right now, this browser extension says that for a 90% certainty, it's going to be the Cromwell Hotel that this deal is for. So if you think that this is going to be a good deal, you want to compare that it's a good deal or not, then you go to the Cromwell Las Vegas Hotel, you look at these dates with this itinerary and see what the price is. And I've done it every single time, and you save a boatload of money. Now, this browser extension, I think, is only valid for Chrome browsers. It's called Travel Arrow. Travel Arrow, TravelArrow. Go to your Chrome browser extension store or whatever it's called. Look for your browser extensions and look up Travel Arrow and install it. And it will find these hidden hotels for you that you don't have to take a chance on of what name the hotel is that you're going to be staying at. So it's a really, really cool. That's really the best thing that they use for, is to find these hidden hotels on Priceline. Now, I don't know if Priceline is eventually going to shut them down, but it's a really, really cool little travel lodging hack that you can use if you want to. All right, let's get into the next one. Trusted house sitters. I've used this one so many times. Don't go out there and sign up for the membership yet, because I have a referral link to send you that will save you 30%. Normal price is like $200, but use my referral code, you can save like 30% off. So it becomes really cheap. But what this does, you pay one annual fee and you can stay at people's houses for free anywhere in the world. In exchange for staying at people's houses for free, you will be responsible for taking care of their dog, their cat, their iguana, their fish, their plants, or just cleaning their house while they're gone, or just, staying in their house, make sure that everything is going to be fine. You got to do a little bit of things like that, but you get lodging for free. I've done it multiple times and I've had really great experiences with it. And the pets that I've met are really, really cool. So let's say someone from the UK or someone from Europe wants to go to, let me look here real quick. Let's just look up Los Angeles. And you can put in specific dates if you want. And they will show you, hey, look at this. If you're going to be in Los Angeles between the 16th and the 19th, you get to stay at this place for free in Redondo Beach, or this place for free for 3 days in Hermosa Beach. Yeah, you got to take care of a dog, but big deal, right? Look at this one, Woodland Hills. You want to stay at this place with the pool for free for 8 days? You got to take care of 3 dogs? Okay, that may be a small price to pay for a place to stay for free with the swimming pool. It's a really, really cool service. I've used it many times. It's totally awesome. But once again, don't go out there and sign up for an account just yet, because I'll send you my referral link and you'll get 30% off. But it's totally worth it, because the small fee you pay for the year, you will save thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's not just in the US. I mean, this is all over the country. Maybe you are in the United Kingdom and you just want to stay locally and do a little staycation. You can even just do something in London if you want to, or you go up to Scotland, or you go to Northern Ireland if you want to. You want to stay someplace local, Cornwall, you can do that too. There's so many cool places you can go to and look at to stay for free. Trusted House Sitters is a really, really cool service to use. The next one is Workaway. I've not done this one yet, but I've heard it's really cool. You're going to stay at people's places for free. There's an annual fee for this one. I've not signed up for it yet, but it looks like if you do sign up, they're going to give you 3 months free. I'm sure it's like a couple $100, but in exchange for staying at people's places for free, you got to do work on their house, work on their farm, or take care of something, or learn a trade or whatever where you're staying. But it's another great way that you can actually start getting embedded in the community, and you get to stay at people's places for free. Once again, another little travel hack to save you some money. Another one is home exchange. Home exchange is a cool one that you can actually exchange your home for someone else's, or if they don't want to exchange with you, you can accumulate points, and you can pay with those points you get on this service, and you can stay at people's houses for free as well with the points that you've accumulated. So home exchange is another cool one. Now, I'm sure everyone has heard of Airbnb, but there's a really cool hack I'm going to share with you about Airbnb. And there's a way that you can earn free miles on Delta Airlines booking a stay on Airbnb. So instead of going to Airbnb, what you want to do is you want to go to the website Delta Airbnb. Oops, let me see here real quick. DeltaAirbnb.com. And all this does is you put in your Delta Sky Miles number, and for every dollar you put in right here, for every dollar you spend on Airbnb, you get 1 Delta mile. If you went to the Airbnb website directly, you would not get 1 Delta mile. Even if you have the Delta credit card, sure, you get 1 Delta mile, but this is 1 Delta mile for free. In addition, anything else you would earn just for going to the site deltaairbnb.com. So it's a really cool tool. I'm not flying Delta a lot, but I've already amassed, I think, 15,000 Delta miles just by doing this little travel hack. Eventually, I'm going to have enough for a round trip flight somewhere, and it's going to be totally free. Won't cost me anything at all. Hotel searches, you can look for hotel searches on airline websites. So if you wanted to go to, I'm just going to pick on Southwest here real quick. Where are we here? Come on, Southwest. So you can search for hotels on Southwest if you want to. And sometimes the price is a little bit more. Most of the time, the price is the same price, if not a little bit better than what you can find somewhere else. And what you get, let me just type in Vegas real quick. In addition to getting some good prices on hotels, they also give you Southwest points extra just for booking a hotel through them. So that's one way. You can do this through almost any airline website. American, United, Delta, Southwest. A lot of airlines have travel partners, and in hotels you can book through them. It's a really cool thing to do. And also you want to look at possibly buying hotel points. I just did a search the other day. I was looking to stay at a Hyatt hotel, and the rate was going to be $140 for one night. However, if I bought points equal to what it would stay for one night, buying the points was only $120. So buying the points for a Hyatt was going to save me $20, and I'd get the exact same hotel and same everything. So look at buying some points for the hotel you want to stay at to possibly save some money. Or maybe you don't have, maybe you want to do a combination of points and credit card. You could do the same thing too. You could buy extra points. You can combine points and credit cards, all kinds of things you could do. One last travel hack.
So great, but we are out of time, and
no.
Sorry for cutting you off. But I just want to make sure we get to Q&A because we do have some awesome questions.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I had so much more to cover, but we'll save that for another session.
I know we could go on for hours about this. You have so many great tips, and thank you again for sharing all of this. I'm sorry we had to cut you off, but I want to make sure we answer questions.
Okay, thanks.
I am just gonna share your links in the chat.
Okay.
So that people can keep up with you, your emails in there, the link to your Meetup group, and then some of the resources you provided today are also in the links. So everybody who's attending, you can find that all in the chat. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the Q&A since there is a lot. Want to make sure we get through as much as possible. Let's see. Let's start with Roger. He asked, I was going to ask about Scott's flights and another service. Has anyone confirmed that those prices are actually findable to the public? I've seen some really cheap deals, but when I go to the airline site or Google Flights, I never seem to find the prices these sites advertise/email. So maybe they're only available to paid subscribers.
Okay, so yes, those flights are real. They're 100% legit. Depends on when you click on the link. The deals may already be completely sold out. But if you click on the links that they give you on Scott's Cheap Flights and these other services, because sometimes it doesn't go to the airline website directly. Sometimes it go to an OTA, online travel agent like Momondo or Kayak or Priceline or Travelocity or Expedia. Sometimes it links to those because they sometimes have better deals than going to the airline directly. But yes, those flights that they find you, 100% legitimate. Just click on the links that they give you in the email and it takes you directly to where you need to go to how to book the flight. But if you don't see the flight anymore, then the flight deal has already expired, or if it's already been purchased by, the thousands of other people that have seen it. But yes, I can confirm they're 100% legit.
Perfect. Love to hear it. So Mark asked, assume the cheap flights are not changeable once booked. Any tips/strategies for handling an unexpected need to cancel or change?
Yes, trip insurance. If you are using a credit card that has trip insurance built into it, like I have a lot of mine that do, then for a covered reason, you can cancel and get your money back. Otherwise, buy trip insurance. You can go to like insuremytrip.com or you can go to other trip insurance websites, and you can buy a trip insurance for that specific itinerary if you want to. And if you buy it within a certain period of time after you've booked your flight, you can get something that a provision on your insurance policy that you can cancel for any reason. So yeah, you can actually buy trip insurance if you wanted to. Sometimes the airlines sell it to you as well, but it tends to be a little bit more expensive and not as comprehensive. But I would recommend trip insurance, or check with the credit card that you booked it with to see if there's trip insurance built in, and you can cancel for whatever reason you need to cancel for.
Great tip. Thank you. Kirby asked, how do you save on baggage and other fees, which sometimes cost as much as the airfare?
The way to do that, the best way to do it is through the airline specific credit card. As an example, if you are flying on United and you book even if you pay with your even if you book with miles, but you pay taxes and fees with your United card, you will get, baggage for free. American Airlines, if you have an American Airlines credit card, you don't have to use the credit card, but just as long as you have it, you'll get free luggage and things like this. Sometimes you get free Wi-Fi or discounts on it. So the best way to do that is through certain credit cards. Specific credit cards will give you these amenities for free. That's the best way that I can think of to offset some of those fees. So the annual fee in some of these is going to be $100 for the year. But if you're, traveling multiple times a year and you're always checking a bag, that annual fee can pay for itself time and time again by getting all the free luggage or free seat assignments that you want with that credit card.
Sounds worth it to me. Anonymous asked, most rewards programs only give you points if you book direct, but most of these cheap flight sites are booked through third parties. How do you balance those to maximize?
So I balanced that through using flexible travel points. And that was my last thing I was going to get into, but I ran out of time. Flexible travel points such as Chase travel points or American Express travel points or Citi Thank You travel points or Capital One Venture travel points. I mean, these are all flexible travel points that when you earn them, you can transfer to multiple travel partners, usually on a one-to-one basis. So that's usually how you can combat some of those things. And if you use a flexible currency like say Chase Sapphire Reserve or Chase Sapphire Preferred or American Express Gold or American Express Platinum or Capital One Venture X, those will earn you flexible travel currency, flexible travel points, and you can use those to transfer them to the airlines you want to fly or the hotels you want to stay at. And that's how you can combat going through those third-party agencies for those really cheap deals.
Thank you. Glad we could touch on that a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to mess up your name, but I'm sorry if I do. Reno asked, I'm from London. I noticed Scott's Cheap Travel only works for those in the US, correct? Which sites are suitable for someone who lives in the UK? Do you have information on that?
Yeah, I would use, let me go back to my list here real quick. I would check out Airfare Spot, Secret Flying, Airfare Spot and Secret Flying. I know they do international, so I would certainly check them. I haven't done a really deep dive into looking at travel search services for other continents other than North America. So I don't have a lot of detail on that, but I would check out Airfare Spot, Secret Flying, and maybe even the flight deal. Those would be the three that I would check out to see if you can find deals from other places other than the US.
Awesome. That's a great start. Jennifer asked, do you feel that last minute for rental cars is cheaper or more expensive?
It depends. Most of the time it's going to be more expensive, especially if you're going during a high travel season. It can be more expensive. But it's a gamble. If you're going to a place that is not very well known or is not very well traveled or it's off season, yeah, you can find some really good deals last minute, which is why the travel hack I gave you, as soon as you start looking for rental cars, book it right away and then continuously search, every day, every other day, every week, every month, until you find you can't get it any lower. Even the day you're arriving to pick up the rental car, search again and see if it gets even lower. You can find some pretty good prices that way sometimes as well.
We have actually a few more questions on rental cars. Ron asked, while seeking airport rental car deals, even paying in advance, I increasingly run into we're out of cars and then have to pay more for one of the 2 to 3 agencies who have cars. Any tips to avoid beyond booking with 2 to 3 agencies?
Any tips to book to wait, what was the question again?
Any tips to avoid this beyond booking with 2 to 3 agencies? So tips to not have to book with multiple agencies to like ensure that they're going to get a rental car.
There is one travel hack. It's through National Rental Car. Now, they generally tend to be some of the more one of the most expensive rental agencies. But with one of my credit cards, it's an American Express card, I get their free platinum or whatever high level they have. And as long as I book a mid-size or larger, they will absolutely guarantee that rental car, period. Like, there's no question about it whatsoever. I've used it once and it worked out really well. Yes, it was more expensive than going with another agency, but I had to have a rental car, and it was very high season of travel. And I could not take a chance of not having a rental car. So I paid a little bit extra money and did the pay now through National, through my status with them. And I was guaranteed a car, no problem whatsoever. So if you don't have that, then I would just book through multiple agencies and kind of hope for the best, which is unfortunate. Even if you prepay, like I prepaid one time, I did a package deal through Costco Travel, going to Hawaii with the rental car and the hotel. And I prepaid everything. And when I showed up, they did not have a rental car for me. So even if you prepay, you're still not guaranteed the rental car is going to be there.
Yeah, rental cars are tricky. I've had that a few times where you show up and nothing's there for you.
Some people are being creative and renting U-Haul trucks or Penske Ryder rental trucks and doing that sometimes. It gets really crazy sometimes.
All right, so we have time for one more question. And Anonymous asked, do you have a bottom dollar or time amount cutoff that you don't bother with? I've frustrated myself spending hours of searching for the best deal only to realize that I may only save $10 to $15.
No, I don't have I know that if I'm going to go to Europe and if I'm going from the US to Europe and I'm going to be spending, if I have to pay more than, $400 or $500 a round trip, I'm going to use my miles or points for it. So that's usually my cutoff, is when I have to pay more than $400 or $500 for a round trip flight, I'll use my miles for it. Now, if the miles are going to cost me, 200,000 miles, then I'll consider going, adjusting my dates or whatever. But for me, I don't want to pay more than $400 to $500 for a round trip flight anywhere. Otherwise, I use miles and points if the miles and points are affordable enough for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I wish we had more time to discuss this more. I know you have tons of tips to provide.
So many.
If people want to hear more, they can join your group. And thank you all for joining us today. Before we go, I'm just going to share a few last slides. So this slide is just, we launched a Discord community for Meetup organizers where you can meet fellow organizers around the world, get advice from mentors, organizers with years of experience managing groups on Meetup, and hear about updates related to Meetup features. If you're interested in joining, you can scan the QR code on the screen. I'll give you a second to do that. Okay. And we also have a podcast, Keep Connected, with Meetup CEO David Siegel. David talks with Meetup organizers as well as thought leaders in community and connection. So if you want to check it out and take a listen, just scan this QR code as well. And as a final reminder, you can view a recap of this event in a few days on our Community Matters blog at meetup.com/blog. There's a lot to learn, so you might want to rewatch it, take some notes. Thank you all for joining us and have a great rest of your day. Bye.